discuss, Eamon, is following the famous win there for your football soccer club Cliftonville against Linfield there in the Irish Cup final. My first question, Eamon, is what does sport and mean to you, just in your everyday life, even going away from politics and identity? What does sport sort of mean to you?
I suppose it is a very common uh, facet of life for a lot of children around the world,
Mm,
including Irish children. Uh, professional sport at the top level is quite glamorous, and that attracts eyes, and it makes children dream, doesn't it?
mm,
And um, when you first pick up a ball, you don't need money or guidance really. You just go and play, and you you harness your skills until you get better, and it gives you something from the word go to attach to, and obviously it improves your physical well-being and your mental and social skills,
mm-hmm.
and it's one of life's great joys, I would say.
Really well said. Yeah, really well said. And so has Cliftonville always been your soccer club, or I suppose it's one of the only nationalist clubs in the Northern Irish League. So,
Yeah, no, I have only been a recent convert
oh yeah,
to the Northern Ireland Irish League. That's because, John, the coverage used to be subpar.
okay,
So you would only seen highlights on a Saturday evening about 6 o'clock, and it would have been the total coverage would have been about 10 minutes max, and that would have been spread over 3 or 4 games. So unless you were a paying punter, you never really knew what the league was, if that makes sense.
yeah, yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, look, it was a famous win for Cliftonville, like, and I ran a football Twitter account a few years ago. Now I'm running more of a political one. That's how I met you. But I met a lovely fella, a Cliftonville fan. Owen was his name. He's actually from Belfast, like, and like, in fairness to Cliftonville, I don't think there's many more fan bases in Ireland that have such a passionate set of fans and such a fan base of who are loyal and who really follow the team wherever they go. Um, One of my dreams for the league would be, because I mean, when I look at Irish soccer or football clubs, whatever you want to call them, I just think, look, it's very easy to point the finger at the government, and yeah, the government could probably do more in funding soccer, but I think at the end, I don't think Irish football will ever grow until our people actually support the clubs. Like, our last report, according to the Irish Times, was in 2011. Irish, football fans spent about 145 million euros on trips to the Premier League, trips to England. And look, I mean, I understand the temptation. I mean, the best league in the world is literally just across the pond. Of course, there's going to be an interest in it, and I don't begrudge people of having a team or watching the big Premier League matches. But what I can't really comprehend is how people will diss the League of Ireland or the Irish League, or how people will, sort of complain about the quality of our national team and then not put a penny of their own money into the league. So I suppose, to round off that question, with people in your own personal life, like, would many of them be one, even football fans? And if so, they are football fans, do they support their local soccer clubs?
Um, on the whole, they do not,
Yeah.
but I would say a lot of that comes from, like, I remember last summer doing an experiment just by myself because it struck me the amount of young kids who were running around in Gaelic jerseys, which
Yeah.
obviously is a massive plus.
Yeah.
And out of 52, it was just one walk, and obviously there's a lot of people out when it's a good day. Out of 52 people that walked past, 30 odd were wearing Gaelic jerseys, which is a big deal and a healthy thing in my eyes.
Mm.
And that was great to see. So I would say that some of the reason why people don't support their local clubs is because they are already invested in Gaelic games, which is great. But the other reason would be the one you just cited already, Premier League, and everybody's got a subscription to Sky, like that.
Yeah.
So the coverage for the football there is next to none,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
therefore some kids are being reared on that diet. So that's what they aspire to be. They'd rather a Bayern Munich jersey than a Cork City jersey. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah. No, you're so spot on there with everything you were saying, and you kind of alluded to Sky Sports there. Like, as I said, that report from the Irish Times is the last bit of data we have since 2011. So that's what, like 14 years now, nearly 15. So, like, since then, sorry, there's a dog outside, but since then, the coverage has only gotten more. I'm gonna have to close the window with the dog. But yeah, since 2011, the Premier League has only gotten vaster. I mean, we have Sky Sports deals. I would say the quality of the league has gone up since then. So who knows how much Irish people are spending on the Premier League, whether it be trips to England or whether it be for Sky Sports memberships. I'd say it's probably gone up. So my dream is always, like, imagine if even a quarter of that 145 million could be spent on our own league. It would do massive things for it, like. But whenever I seem to kind of bring this up with my own circles in real life, people are very very ambivalent towards it. Very much like, no, I'm gonna stay with my Premier League side, and look, it's fair enough, but in my head, don't complain about the quality of the national team then, And I suppose maybe as we might round off a little bit in sport, and we'll go back to it later on. But do you ever see a world where there could be an all-island league or an all-island team? It kind of maybe conjunctions a bit with unity, but even outside from away from maybe even a political perspective, do you think that there is potential for an all-island team and an all-island league in the near future?
Yeah, just as recently as yesterday, I think. Micheál Martin's Shared Island initiative set aside money for an All-Ireland Ladies League or competition. I'm not sure of the detail, but it's either a league or competition. So the girls' football will soon be an All-Ireland venture.
That's fantastic.
So there are people who are sharing the sentiments that me and you are currently discussing, including at governmental level. And if that becomes a roaring success, which I think it might, because the women's game is one of the fastest growing demographics within sport in the entire world. Like, they were sort of not locked out, but it wasn't really encouraged in society. It wasn't up until now recently.
It's very true.
And like, if you take the population of the world, it's roughly about 50% women. So why would you exclude that market in the first place? But now that they're getting proper funding, I'm sure that there are plenty of women who are of sporting age or who are about to become of sporting age who will love the structure, the infrastructure to be built for them to have a league on an All-Ireland basis. I think it will be nothing but positive, and it can be used, say, in 5 or 10 years from now, for the organisers of the All-Ireland Women's League to say, look, this is a hit. This has proven to be a hit for us. Why don't you follow suit? So there's definitely potential there. I would say some of the opposition to that proposal would obviously come from unionist politicians and
of course,
and also from the people who run the Northern Ireland Football League, the Irish League. They might think that their jobs would be at risk if it becomes an All-Ireland
Mm.
phenomenal.
Well, one of the common criticisms I hear from my friends when I ask them why won't they support their League of Ireland club, and I think it's actually a fair one, is that it's so boring because, and not in the sense of the football quality, but if you look at England, there's over 5, 6 divisions where you can have a team like Luton Town, for example, who have climbed the ladder all the way from League Two all the way up to the Premier League, whereas that prospect is never really there in Ireland. Like it's you either get relegated and you're down in Division Two in the first division, like, or you the other option is essentially you know, maybe you can have a bit of a battle for Europe. That's the only thing, and the title race. Like there's no opportunity to climb the leagues and make a real name for yourself, and that's why an All Ireland League would straight away solve this problem. Because I think it's a fair criticism, like, because is there 3 divisions in up north? Is there, Éamon, or is it less, or is it more?
I think there's more. There's a Premier League, there's
Yeah,
a Championship, a couple of leagues underneath that.
yeah,
But one thing I learned today, actually, when I was in the gym, I had a podcast on, and they were interviewing a current Cliftonville player, Rory Hill, and he played for Galway United as well at one point.
okay,
And he was saying that the interviewer asked him which league was of a higher standard, and he said the League of Ireland, because
yeah, it would
all
be.
the teams, all the teams in the top league, they are full time. Whereas in the Irish League, Cliftonville's league, there's only 3 or 4 clubs that are actually full time.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting, and I mean, I remember there was time when the Setanta Cup used to exist, which was a cross-border competition. Um, you know, like some of the northern teams gave up the game, but I remember there were scores like 7 or 8 nil to Dundalk against even Linfield at times. So, um, you know, but the only way we're going to bridge that gap is through coming together, in my opinion. So, you know, I suppose just when we're discussing sport as well, sort of my vision for sport would be based on a little bit De Valera's thoughts. So I don't know if you've ever heard this, but in De Valera's kind of citation that was called "The Ireland We Dreamed of," he mentions that he one of the facets, and it's very long. You know, you can read it for yourself. Um, he mentions that the Ireland we dreamed of had a contest of rampant athletic youths, and I look at like how, I'm studying a subject now for my leaving cert called Leaving Cert Physical Education (PE), and we learned that every child under 18 needs at least 1 hour of moderate to vigorous physical activity per day. And I look at the obesity rates, what I would call an obesity epidemic, with adults as well, but also with younger children. Um, I think there's definitely very much a call for, we need to make sure that sport is accessible, and loads of options of sport is accessible to every child in Ireland. Like, for example, if you take me, like, I just never took to rugby, whether it's watching it or playing it. I just never really liked it. When it comes to Gaelic football, look, I don't mind it. I like playing it here or there. I'll watch the odd match, especially the All Ireland final or whatever. But I never really fully took to it either, whether it be playing or watching it. The two sports then I love would be soccer. From the very first day I played it, really, I was hooked and I love watching it. And hurling would be the same. Like, I just love going down to the pitch with the lads, pucking or anything. So, but my point is that everybody is going to be different. Different strokes for different folks. Some people are even going to like really out there sports like hockey or tennis. But my point is that we need to make sure that, in my opinion, um, there's lots of choices of sport available in every village and town in Ireland. Like, because, in my town, where I'm living, for example, if I want to play soccer, I've got to go and travel 20 minutes out to my local town, Fermoy or Mitchelstown. There's none in my village of Glamorth. All we have is a GA club, which is great. And, I don't want to, like, in my opinion, this will actually amplify both all of GA and soccer, because a lot of people's reasoning that we have such a poor soccer team, a lot of people give the excuse that it's because of GA. I think this notion is completely false. Like, I think in an ideal world, soccer and GA, for young kids especially, it can go hand in hand. They play until they're 18, and then they choose which one they're better at. And in the meantime, until they get into adulthood, the kid gets to a real flavour of both soccer and GA. So yeah, like I would love a situation, I suppose, where everyone, and I think that will be the making of us, of our league, of our national team, and it will also, without infringing on GA, which is so important to all of us, But yeah, do you have anything to say on sport before we round it off and go on to the next topic?
Yeah, I've quite a bit to touch on actually.
Yeah, work away.
Yeah, I think you're aware of the FAI have sort of commissioned a plan. Not commissioned, they have come up with a plan that they think will take the game in Ireland to the next level. And I only read the article about the plan, and basically, they want to upgrade the stadia. They want to invest in the grassroots, and they have costed it in such a way whereby the government pays for around 60% sponsorship, or some other third party pays for a bit, and they pay out of their own coffers. Now, the FAI as an institution has left a lot to be desired historically. They
100%, yeah.
You've your man John Delaney. I think he's caught up in scandals. It seems to be an organisation from the outside looking in that is below par or incompetent at best. So I do get the counter argument that giving them loads of money isn't a great idea. But let's say then that you did have a competent FAI and that this plan that they came out with worked to an exact T. I think it would do real positive. It would be a massive positive in our society. One thing that about me is I believe in the Irish people and the Irish nation, and I know rightly that there's enough talent to bring us up to at least the par of the Scottish League minus Celtic and Rangers. Now, there's a couple of things behind that. Population isn't the be all and end all. Like, if you look at Croatia's World Cup performances, there's a nation with roughly our population and probably less resources, yet they got themselves to World Cup final in 2018 and they're perennial dark horses. So that means we can't have any excuses in that regard. But when it comes to a league structure, we roughly have the same population as Scotland. They would at the moment have more resources, but that's not forever, if you know what I mean. So there's no reason why we can't get a league to at least be on a par with what they've got if you take out the two old farm clubs. So why not strive to at least get there? And if you like one of the things you were saying about your friends, having more enthusiasm for the Premier League, maybe some of it's because the stadiums are over there are sort of iconic. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's true.
Whereas if you visit the grounds of the League of Ireland teams, they don't look great for a start. If you had a health and safety inspector to go around, you might find gaps in the health and safety standards of them. And so you need to do things to get your population invested emotionally. Now, some of the raw ingredients are already there, like Cliftonville's ground, for example. Cliftonville, there's a love story there to be written with Cliftonville because they're the first club that was ever founded on the island of Ireland, 1879.
Wow.
So they've got heritage already, and the reason why I support them and Celtic and the Republic of Ireland is very simple, because my whole identity is underpinned by Irishness, and Cliftonville have that Irish segment of North Belfast behind them. That's their catchment area, and that's why I have an affinity with them. And the same goes for Celtic. that support over there does us a world of good. Like, you know,
Yeah.
when I look at Celtic Park and they've got great songbook and they've got the tricolours flying prominently, you know, it swells your heart a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
And obviously the national team is our team, so I'm never going to support them, even though the fare on offer is not great at the moment. But just to sum up on the football, we squander what we have, and we do not get enough out of what we could. That's what I would say. And there's no reason why we can't lift it up a couple of levels.
Absolutely.
With sustained investment in people and infrastructure. So yeah, that's my take on that.